convene this meeting of Houston City Council. Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem Gonzalez for point of order.
Thank you, Mayor. I make a motion to move the following items up first out of order. The MOFAR and items 3 to 8, then the 2 public hearings.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed, motion carries. Comptroller Green, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, council members. This is the monthly financial report for the period ending February 28th, 2014. This is projecting an ending fund balance of $176 million for FY 2014. It's about $17.3 million lower than the projection from the Finance Department. Based on our current projections, the fund balance will be $37.4 million above the city's target of only 7.5% of our total expenditures, excluding debt service and reserve. We've increased our revenue projections by $7.2 million over last month's projection. Sales tax we increased by $6.7 million, and that's to reflect collections through January and a continued 5% growth that we foresee. We also increased $495,000 for our cable and solid waste haulers projection. Other major differences fall in 6 categories. Property taxes, $5.6 million lower. Industrial assessments are $1 million lower. Licenses and permits are $1.3 million lower. Charges for services, $3.1 million, and that's because we're projecting slightly lower ambulance collections and flagging fees. Municipal courts, fines, and forfeits are $1.5 million lower. Miscellaneous other $3.7 million, and that's because we're projecting lower recoveries and refunds from non-recurring receipts. Expenditure projections decreased $4.4 million. Fire decreased $5.2 million, reflecting the recent agreement with the union, which will reduce classified overtime and provide a 2% pay raise. Funds were transferred from general government to general services, and that increased $367,000, and that's for increased janitorial services. Legal increased $235,000 for personnel. Police increased $3.2 million for forensics operations, net of DARLAC payment of $740,000. As it relates to the enterprise funds, the aviation operating fund, operating revenues, we increased $7 million for higher parking garage and concession fees. Operating expenses, we increased $2.3 million, and that's for higher personnel, services, and supply costs. Non-operating revenues were decreased $2.5 million, and that's mainly for lower prior year revenues. Our projection for the combined utility system operating expenses decreased $5.1 million, and that's for lower personnel, chemical, and contract costs. Non-operating revenues increased $6.7 million for higher impact fee revenues from higher than expected commercial construction projects. In the stormwater fund, our projection for expenditures decreased $1.2 million, and that's for delays in receiving vehicles. This caused a decrease of $1 million in the operating transfers in. There were no material changes in the convention and entertainment facilities operating fund, and the commercial paper and bonds are outlined in the monthly financial report. This is the monthly financial report from the Comptroller's office. If you have any questions, we'd be glad to answer those.
Good morning. This is the financial report for the period ending February 28, 2014. Fiscal year 2014 projections are based on 8 months of actual results and 4 months of projections. In the general fund, we are currently projecting ending fund balance of $193.9 million. It's approximately $11.4 million more than last month and 10.5% of expenditures less debt service payments. And our projection for revenues and other sources, the projection for revenues and other sources increased by $6.3 million last month due to the following forecast changes. In property tax, we've increased our projection by $484,000 as a result of lower than anticipated hearing protest losses. In sales tax, our projection increased by $2 million due to favoring economic trends. In other taxes, our projection increased by $1.1 million, mainly due to higher third quarter receipts from mixed beverage taxes. In other franchise fees, we increased by $656,000, mainly due to higher than anticipated cable TV franchise fees. Interest decreased by $600,000 due to lower interest rates than anticipated. And in the miscellaneous other category, our revenues increased by $2.8 million due to judgments and claims to reflect receipts pertaining to asbestos settlements affecting several city properties. We agree with the Comptroller on expenditure projections for the general fund and all the enterprise funds as well. So I will move to the special revenue funds and other funds. In the property casualty fund, revenues and expenditures decreased by $1.3 million, primarily due to lower insurance premiums than anticipated. In the workers' compensation fund, revenues and expenditures decreased by $425,000, primarily due to personnel savings. In the asset forfeiture fund, expenditures decreased by $2.8 million due to the delay in the purchase of equipment. In the auto dealers fund, revenues increased by $462,000 due to higher than anticipated sales of impounded vehicles and expenditures decreased by $258,000 due to delay in purchasing the auto dealer license and application system. In the building inspection fund, revenues increased by $6.2 million due to higher permit activities, and expenditures decreased by $2.3 million due to delays in filling vacant positions, vehicle purchases, and construction projects. In the child safety fund, expenditures increased by $354,000 to disperse higher than anticipated revenues and fund balance for the crossing guard program. In the essential public health services fund, expenditures decreased by $915,000, mainly due to delay in the implementation of various projects. In the forensics transition special fund, revenues and expenditures decreased by $3.3 million due to personnel transfers to the general fund. In the health special revenue fund, expenditures decreased by $649,000 due to its savings in personnel services and the delay in capital computer equipment purchases. In Houston TrainStar, expenditures decreased by $435,000, primarily due to delays in several building expansion projects at the TrainStar Center. In the parking management fund, revenues decreased by $418,000, primarily due to lower parking violations than anticipated, and expenditures decreased by $605,000, mainly due to personnel savings and the delay of current projects. In the park special revenue fund, revenues decreased by $541,000 to transfer settlement proceeds to the capital fund, as well as lower rental property revenue. In the police special services fund, revenues increased by $608,000, mainly due to higher grants received from the state for law enforcement officers standard and education program and higher confiscations. Expenditures increased by $361,000, mainly due to higher personnel costs dedicated to the record management system project. And finally, in the special waste fund, expenditures decreased by $374,000, primarily due to delays in capital purchases. Thank you very much. That concludes our report.